unemployment rate of about 9.9% as the last time, it was read out in February, that's a significant impact on Nigeria as a whole, So we need to look at the numbers in totality and say, what is the real impact of this regime? What is really going to happen?
The real economics.
Yes.
Okay, give us a minute. We'll come back. We need to look at one question. The impact of all of this on the government, why the government at the center is doing this. But again, the key question is if this is a silver bullet for the industry. Okay. Mecca is talking to us after the break. Stick around with that. But the budget presentation or the budget implementation presentation today will be handled by the Minister of National Planning and Budget. That will be taking place, and we'll cover that for you here on the channel. The event was earlier scheduled to be addressed by the Vice President, but now it's being reported that the National Planning and Budget Minister will do the presentation. We'll be back in 1 minute. Days and weeks ahead, the conversation will continue about the new guided petroleum deregulation regime of the Buhari's administration. The government says it's getting out of that business, at least to some extent, maintain an oversight function, just manage the system and allow market forces, what you call forces of demand and supply, to determine the imports as well as the price of the product at the pump station. What impact for the government? The government's now reporting a little bit of a weak earnings. So something has to be done. The fiscal problem there is what the government's trying to avoid, carrying that backlog of under recovery at the downstream sector. Let's get back to the conversation with Mecca Olowola, who is managing partner as general consultant and energy expert. Thank you. Let's get into this final part of the discussion. Talk to us about if this new regime is a silver bullet. That's the question. Is it a silver bullet?
What I think it is an opportunity for us to do what we should have done a long time ago, and what is due to benefit Nigeria as of now. I don't see any undertone to it. I don't see any undercurrent that is not transparent, because we are facing the same issues over and over again. And the narratives are different from what you had in 2012, right? Where there was the issue of, if we save, monies from subsidies, is it going to be for, the corrupt enrichment of a few? For months we are happy. At least there's something that is not debatable amongst the generality of Nigerians, which is we now have a government that is credible and has integrity. Okay, so that is not an issue, across board. So what would then happen is that the savings you're going to get from the removal of subsidy, which is very significant. Nigeria spent, last year we spent close to over 1 trillion naira on subsidies. That's about, $5 odd billion, right? Now, if you think about how much it costs to construct a refinery, Nigeria's combined capacity today is 445,000 barrels a day, right? That would cost you maybe like $5-6 billion to build one, right? How many refineries would we have gotten if we were channeling these funds into infrastructure in the sector on a yearly basis? That means we would have had 10. right? Nigeria today will have been a net exporter of refined products. So when you look at that, when you say, what is this going to happen? Put the number in context. Works, power, and housing, the celebrated, Fashola portfolio, this year is going to have 443 billion naira to spend the whole year, right? The transport is 202 billion naira. Now you spend a trillion every year. Now put it in perspective. So what the whole hula baloo about power and everything is 443 billion naira.
So we're just burning cash.
Literally. That's what you're doing.
We
just lighting it up.
Light it up.
Yep.
That's
every
what
day.
we're doing.
Every day.
With the subsidy regime.
With the subsidy regime. Now, government is saying, and we can trust them. That's the beauty. Everybody can say, yes, at least we will trust you. We'll give you the benefit of that. We are going to channel these into infrastructure. We're going to channel this to build refineries. Let's give them a chance for once. Let's do, you can't continue to do the same things and expect a different result. So people are saying we want change, we want stability, we want constant product supply, right? So let's see it happen. This is a fantastic opportunity. We've tested this route before with diesel. Don't forget, So it's a fantastic opportunity in my own opinion to see things change radically.
Let's spend about 1 or 2 minutes to drill down a little bit on the government, the impact on the fiscal regime, this new pricing, supply, and the government. For the government at the center, how does this kick in?
So what is going to happen is, even though we operate very actively in the oil and gas, but we also advise across sector. So what you're going to see happen to government is they will have enough cash to invest in other sectors. So in the bid to diversify the economy, government earnings are still predominantly from oil and gas, crude oil sales, but agriculture is yearning for investment, right? So what is going to happen to that sector? Eventually, what you will see is that government will be able to do a lot more. Government will be able to even fund some of the socialist programs, to get more people employed. You remember that, the VP has announced 500 billion naira as an interventionist fund to just jumpstart the lower end of the pyramid of the socio-economic strata, to the point that you are going to see people who are running petri trees being able to then employ other people, right? Now, government is going to be able to do all of that the more they stop to worry about how we're going to get subsidy, and then you're going to have more money to pay workers, for example, to be shared across the state, because government doesn't have to be saddled with the burden of trying to fund subsidy. So I think the net impact is what we should look at, which is positive.
Yes, we'll look at the net impact maker. But again, the man on the street, how does this all kick in? Because again, the marketers, whether they're independent or the majors, will have to go somewhere to source the FX. Then they'll have to go import and pay the CIF, and pay the landing costs, and what other costs, and pay salaries and wages and whatever. So the man on the street is concerned about the fact that as early as today, marketers just move straight to 145.
Yeah. So to be candid, as paradoxical as this may sound, is all about the man on the street eventually, because that man on the street is already paying 200 naira, right? And he's getting products that are messing up his vehicle.
But he's scared that 145 looks like a point of no return.
No, that's not correct, because that same man of the street on the street 3 years ago, right, if he was working in a manufacturing concern, will have known how much they were buying diesel, will have known that, when that was liberalized and deregulated, it turned out for the better eventually. It went up as high as 200 naira to start with, but what is it now? 120, 125, isn't it? They have two people, everybody is dropping flyers on your door now to say, I can supply you diesel, right? I can give you another 10% discount. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Competition is going to kick in. And when you have competition working perfectly, what you see is reduction in prices, efficiency. You will now become the king. The consumer now truly becomes the king. So I can make my calls and say, okay, so where am I going to buy fuel today? Which station am I going to go to? You know, which one serves my purpose? Am I in a hurry? You know, or can I wait a few more minutes, you know, to buy here? So those are the things that will happen. Is eventually about that man on the street. And that's why I like what the Manufacturer Association of Nigeria has come to say, because that is a true reflection of the man on the street, you know, from an umbrella point of view. And also the Lagos State Chambers of Commerce. What is happening is that they are saying this is a development that we welcome. Right? Because if anybody should complain, shouldn't it be Manufacturers Association of Nigeria?
Final question, quickly, a minute. Do you agree with the fact that the import side of this discussion has also been liberalized? In other words, says any Nigerian entity.
Yeah.
So would Zenera Consulting be willing to be ready to import?
It's something that we're willing to look at if the opportunity comes. You know, though it's not an area of focus. But the beauty is that we can now speak this way. You can ask me that question and I can say, I can look at it potentially.
So
it wasn't like that before.
Petrol is no longer for the exclusive, novel-rich, who knows who business. Yeah. If you meet the criteria, you just approach the NNPC
and DPR.
And DPR and you can import petrol.
Yes, that's right. And they'll give you the guidelines for importation, which is very clear, you know, and they will tell you what the quality parameters are, and they'll come and check, you know, when it comes in to make sure that it meets specs. And if it's that, Nigeria is all better for it.
So the NNPC just sitting as a big brother, just supervise and regulate.
That they should have been doing all the while.
Interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks
for those enlightenment you've brought in on the program this morning. But of course, the conversation is not over.
No.
Of course, I know we'll spend the days ahead. Thank you very much, Meka Oluwola, who is the managing partner at Zenera Consulting, is also an energy sustainability expert. That's about all for today. We thank you for watching, everyone.